Alright guys, welcome back. We were watching Maiden Abyss, Season 2, Episode 7. Last time, we had the luring, which was something. That was quite the quite the ordeal. What did Rika call the thing? The Ugasami? That's what she named it, right? The big purple thing? That was really something. She used her whistle, activated Reg. That was interesting. Really makes you think, like, what, I don't know, what is a white whistle? How does it work? you know? Wazukyan wants us to get a piece of Fakuta. That's I'm very suspicious about that. And Voiko is going to tell us the story about stuff about the village. I assume whatever happened to Iramui too, right? Like where'd she go? So yeah, I don't know. I'm down for that. I really thought when the season started that we were gonna get like more like flashes back and forth between like Ganja back then and us now, But hey, if it's gonna be this episode, I am down with that. So hey, we're starting episode 7. You can line your own copy up with this if you want to. We are starting in 3, 2, 1. Here we are. yeah, that crazy Hydra looking thing. God, the way it moves is so creepy. like moving at like angles like that. Right, yeah. No. Almost sounded like he said value there, didn't it? Right. Interesting. It's interesting that they're looking at like humans and saying, "Oh, you guys are so new." Makes you wonder what's down there. Who built these people then, right? I guess they're not people; these robots, right? Yeah, yeah. The opposite of what you were looking for, in a way, right? I don't know, something interesting to think about there. I guess. I think it makes sense that it's harsher thematically. I sure you can't go back up though, so. Yeah, and we saw that in like episode 2 or something, right? Yeah, I wonder what the story behind that is. Oh, well, those people are dead. so, unlucky. Yeah, for a few hours. It's really that long? Right. Yeah, yeah, you can't remain human. Yeah. Oh, okay. Ooh. yeah, this is it. Here's the Golden City, I suppose. And I don't really think he's like manipulating them or anything, right? I think he really believes what he's saying. Yeah, yeah. Like, 'cause it sounds almost like a cult leader speech or something, you know what I mean? But I don't really think that's it at all. Ooh. right. Yeah, right. Wazukyan's, like, gift of prophecy, right? The Cradle of Desire. We gotta start getting food and water, yeah. Ooh. Oh, right. Yeah, you can't go up or down. Yeah. I mean, you can go down, but you can't go back up on the way back. What did Bonjude say? 10 meters? Ooh. You can read it, yeah. What does that mean, though? I, if you say so, I suppose. ah. Okay, okay, sure, sure. Can maybe learn some big things. I think it's interesting him saying how important Irimiri is. I feel like that is a ooh. Yeah, and that's the on her back. Oh. The ink of sacrifice. Ah. What is it? Aw, it's one of those. What are they called? I don't remember the name for them. That thing's not dangerous. Come on. I mean, I guess it could have been, but it's still. Sure, true. Oh God, yeah, man, just more connection between her. Hope nothing happens to that thing then. Surely, yeah, come on. Yeah, that thing's got to get food somewhere, right? It's been living on its own. Okay, okay, sure. Interesting. Okay, okay, big. 5 locations. Well, might have no choice on those ones. What are the others, though? Oh, that's not gonna work. I know you can boil rust out of water, right? It's not bacteria. Sure. Oh, okay. Okay. I hope there's not, like, evil bacteria down here. I mean, we can boil it, right? I mean, it'll be fine, I'm sure. Assuming that works, I guess we do know, like, when Rico and them, like, cooked those eggs, and the stuff inside didn't die, can we even boil water and have it be safe? Maybe. Down here, stuff is really adapted to the heat. Ooh, what a cave, huh? Oh, don't. Yeah. Sure, sure. Okay, okay. I mean, it looks fine, right? I'm sure it is. Big. Oh, wow. Yeah. What is that thing? It looks like a shark's mouth, almost. They got it, though. Oh. She might not be looking good. I wonder. Maybe. Oh. I wonder if that's just a connection Yuramui's made. Yeah, it's like she thinks that's all that's important. This idea of having children is like the only thing that matters. Cursed one born of Giant Pit must go back to Giant Pit. Yeah. Oh god, how dark that is, huh? Oh. Oh man. Oh god, she won't. She won't throw you away. Come on. Ooh. Wanted to find the light. Yeah, the light in the darkness. Right. What a very warm darkness it was. Because it is so dark, in a way, right? It's like this connection they have from this very shared negative experiences they have, right? What a man. Impressive. Yummy. Oh. No! Really? No! Uh, okay, awesome. Thanks. Oh, okay, okay. Made her a necklace out of it. Hmm. Sure, sure. Bailoff has really been watching them. I wonder what he thinks. Oh, God. Oh, no. Yeah, that's not good. Oh, yeah. Oh, God. What? Okay. Oh, and it's affecting more people, isn't it? Yeah. Oh, God. There's no way Yumi was just gonna, like, die, right? Oh. Yeah. It's really it's like a parasite or something, right? Yeah. Well, I mean, it seems like some kind of like hmm. Uh maybe it's better she's passed out now at least. She's not awake to suffer through it. Oh. Great. Right. Okay. Is that where it's leading us? Okay. Great. Oh, the water. They think it's the water. Okay. Oh, wow. Is it a... Oh, okay. Oh, okay. So the water like killed this thing and like melted it the same way it's like melting them. Oh God, but if the water's doing this, it's like it's not even water then, right? I was about to say, yeah, anytime Wazukon's like, hey, look at this, it just makes you think, you know? What is it? Oh, that thing from the end of the last episode. Yeah. Huh. The music. Yeah, the thing inside looks just like the compass. Oh, interesting. Okay. So is there just something in the water then, or is it literally the water itself is alive? I I guess. Well, he's drinking it. Yeah, they haven't affected everyone yet, which is weird. I wonder if it's already too late, right? It's going to affect them all at this point, no matter what. What is it? Okay. Oh. Round relics are the shape of wishes. We've seen a lot like those. In this shape. Oh, that's the Cradle of Desire. Okay, interesting. So does it grants your wishes? Yeah. So then, yeah, what would make them end up like that, though? If you get overcome and your wish dissipates, you end up like that. Interesting. Children. Oh, well, we have one of those. Iramui, right? It makes sense then why Voriko was thinking about the Cradle of Desire at the end of the last episode alongside Iramui, right? Oh, no. Oh, yeah. Oh, God. Sure, just she is the one volunteering Iramuri for it. Okay. Much closer to the origin. Sure, I guess. That doesn't. I feel like that doesn't answer the question, but okay. Oh no, him too. Yeah. How many people are left, right? It's surprising Wazukyon hasn't. Oh, oh God. Will she, huh? Yeah, that's one of those moments, huh? Where you remember that he's touched by the divine, right? Yeah, someone refused by her homeland in a way. Ah, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh no. It's affecting her too, isn't it? Or maybe not. Okay, Yomiuri's. It's fine, right? Okay. Her hand, though, yeah. I don't know. Oh, it's inside of her. So what did she wish for, right? I mean, she wished for the pain to stop, I assume, right? But what else, right? Yeah. I mean, we know what all of her desires and stuff were based on, right? Children. She had that feeling of abandonment, all of that, just like Voiko. Oh, the music. So good. Yeah. Wonder if Emu wished for Voiko to not get sick too, and if that's why she. Oh, great. Right. Yeah. I mean, this is what she wanted. Yeah. For some reason, right? This body, it's a body in shape with her desires in some way, I'm sure, right? But what are her desires? Ah, yeah, yeah, right. I bet it was more specific than that, but maybe not, maybe not. I wonder. Oh, God. Oh, God. I. What? Oh, no. Oh, God. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Right. I don't know. I don't know. Oh my god. Oh, great. Yeah. It's just a baby. But that's not what she wanted, right? Ah. Oh my god. Right. Right. Yeah. And they just keep dying. It's yeah. Okay. All right. And they look like the pet she had, don't they? Yeah. How cruel. Right? Oh, well, there we go. It is affecting her after all. Oh, yeah. It's how oh, don't say that. Her wishes are being corroded. She'll be our salvation somehow. That's what he said. Oh, okay. I I are we what are we eating right now? What's up, Wazukyan? What are we how's your Mui doing? Or oh, the music. What's up, man? Yeah. It sure did it just cure her? Oh god. Was it yeah, yeah, you sure did. Yeah. Uh-huh. That's oh god. Oh my god. Oh, that's the end. Oh god. Okay. All right. Was it her? Was it her babies? Was it is it just like okay. All right. No. Right. 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 Okay. That was just a horrifying episode. Like what was that? I okay. Um, no, I am really gonna have to think about this episode. There's definitely stuff here, like this weird, like this corruption of these wishes in a way, right? Um, oh god, and like what Iramui wanted compared to like what Waco wants, like this weird thing that like Waco has about like wanting to help other people, right? Like her being like kind of like the nurse, right? Being the medical person, her job being to like take care of everyone else, right? That's what she said, right? Um, I think that is interesting with what happened in this episode with Iramui. Um, but I'm gonna have to think about it for like what I think that means, right? There's definitely a connection there. Um, either Iramui's dead. I don't know if we just ate Iramui, or right, because like if her body became fit for her desires or whatever, however they say it, it would make sense then, that eating her could cure the sickness. Because I'm sure partially she wanted to cure the sickness for everyone, right? The form the wish takes. Okay. We'll talk about the episode in the discussion. Okay, let's talk about the episode. This is a rough one, huh? I'm not sure what we're eating here. I think it is either Iramui or Iramui's babies, right? Because Wazikyan told us, as Wazikyan says, that she was gonna save us all, and I think that makes sense. Because whatever she wished for, we don't know what her wish with the Cradle of Desire was. I imagine it was probably a big amalgamation of a lot of things, right? And it wouldn't surprise me if part of that was to have everyone not die from the sickness, right? And I guess her body took the form of her wish, right? So if we ate her, or if she started the babies that she was giving birth to, if one of those two things, if we can eat them and it cures the sickness, then I guess that makes sense, right? Obviously, there's like the idea of this like self-sacrifice through I guess just self-sacrifice like this, right? Through being eaten, I guess, right? Or through her children being eaten. I'm not sure which one. I don't know which of those is even worse. I really couldn't tell you. Um, that is very. I think that makes sense. What that immediately makes me think about is like Voiko and her relationship with like the idea of helping other people, right? Because it was like episode 1, right, where she said something that was really sad. It was just the idea that all she can do is like help other people or something, right? She sees no value in herself other than this idea of just being able to help others, essentially, right? Which like it makes sense. She has very low self-esteem and all of that, considering the horrible abuse she's been through. It's kind of like that for Yui too, right? Um, so it's kind of like we're taking that to like this very extreme place in a way. It's just I don't think Irumyui wanted this, right? Like Wazukyan, I kind of doubt Irumyui would have wanted to be eaten or have her babies be eaten, right? Um, so in that sense, Wazukyan is taking an interesting place in the story, right? Because I haven't really wanted to say that Wazukyan is like evil, right? Um, but it's interesting because Irumyui's problem, right? Like the thing that she's so upset by that ruined her, that the all the villagers cast her out for, right, is not being able to give birth to children, right? Why is giving birth to children important in like a society, especially like a small village like that, right? Well, you need people to be alive for the village to like continue, right? Um, so like I guess it makes sense. Like it makes sense. It's very horrible and awful, right? But it makes sense that the only value they would see in like women is the idea that they can give birth to continue society, right? So of course she'd be casted out because of that. Obviously I'm not justifying it. It's like awful, right? Um, so in that case, it's interesting how Wazukyan is almost taking that same role in this case, right? He is making Yumiri sacrifice herself because I guess you could almost imagine the idea of being forced to like have children and give birth like that. Being forced to have that role in society is almost similar, right? He's forcing her to like do the same thing, right? That she either I imagine it might be her babies that are being eaten, right? Because I imagine Voiko is going to have further interactions with Iramuri. So just like that, her children are being viewed in that same way almost. It's just a function of society continuing. You know what I mean? Uh, which I don't know. Does that make Wazukyan like a villain? Like kinda. It's kind of crazy. But at the same time, he is saving his people, right? I assume it's more than just Voiko who are gonna get fed and are gonna be okay now. Um, and in a sense, it's what Iramuri like wished for, right? It has to have been part of her wish. But it's just like awful, right? It just really, I don't know. It's just really terrible. Let's go through the episode more. I'm sure I will have more to say about that. But yeah, how awful that is, right? It makes you think too about this idea of like in the village, children are so important, right? Like they've said many times that a human child is like the most important thing in the village, right? Which more and more I'm thinking it has to be like that has to come from like Iramuri in some way, right? Because Iramuri herself, she valued children so much that's what she was like taught to value because of course, right? Because she was cast out of the village, she was raised on this idea that her only purpose would be to give birth to children. So of course that's what she thinks is so important, and therefore the village itself also like thinks like that, right? But I think the idea of human children having so much value in the village also makes sense from like the perspective of like value, right? The idea that human children represent like this potential, you know what I mean? Um, which is interesting. I feel like that has to have That has to thematically have something to do with the horrible events of this episode, right? It must, but it's rough, huh? So we start here, back here yet again from man, I remember what episode this was, but yeah, this crazy Hydra thing. That's thank God we didn't run into that, huh? We capture all of the interference units. They they just all get tied up, I guess. Hmm. So I don't know if I'm making a mountain out of a molehill here or not, but I think it's very interesting how the interference units are so um they're so interested by the appearance of them, right? New outward appearances. They're saying like it's so, and I guess they could just be saying, oh, like Ganja, obviously they look very different, right? Like they have different attire and different all of this, right? But I also just wonder if that's like a like have they literally not seen people before, right? Which I just that's like I feel like that's a whole like thing you could delve into there, like because it's the idea then okay, so then things that don't even look like people would have had to have built them, right? Because if it was a bunch of people like Reg down there, if Reg is a true resident of the Golden City, and it was a bunch of people like Reg, then they wouldn't be saying these are new outward appearances. They'd be like, oh, you guys look just like the true residents of the Golden City, right? Um, so I guess I don't really know what that means. I guess I don't really have anywhere to go from there. That's in my mind, I guess, right? I think that's potentially noteworthy, right? Hmm. There's a ton we want to learn too. Let's talk, why don't we? I wonder how much of this Wazukon like foresaw, right? Everything that happens in this episode. How much does his gift of prophecy allow him to see, right? Because it's like he always says and does things like with Faputa in the last episode, telling Rico and the gang to oh, just go get a piece of Faputa. Surely that'll fix everything, right? Um, it felt like that in this episode too, like when he said like, oh, I wonder what this egg is, It seems like he already like knew what it was, perhaps, right? And that he had already foreseen a bunch of this. But I guess it's just we'll probably never know exactly, right? Um, it just really makes you wonder, how extensive that gift of foresight is, right? We would indeed come to learn that even supposing this was the Golden City, it was a far crueler environment than the homelands that had cast us aside. Which, I feel like that makes sense thematically in a way. Because, of course, what they're searching for is something that will be very difficult to like survive in and find, right? I think it's very difficult to establish some kind of society, a golden city, where everything is in some way like fair, right? And it's anything unlike the cruel homelands that they had been cast aside by, right? And I think that's perfectly shown through the fact that this village itself, like Waco says, is like cursed, has this horrible beginning, right? Which I think we've seen a large part of that now, that it's the only reason this society exists is because they all survive now through the sacrifice of Yoramui, right? I mean, can you even call it a sacrifice when it seems like Wazi-Khan is like forced it on her? I don't know, right? And in that sense, it's like, is it even that different, right? Because it's like the reason they were all cast out, the reason their homelands were unfair in some way, is because of the treatment that they faced, right? People like Waco, right? And then their society, the Golden City that they're like establishing down here themselves, it's being built upon like the same thing, right? Through the suffering of a poor person like Iramui. It just makes you think, is that like an inevitability? You know what I mean? Like, is it impossible? Was the Golden City always just an impossible dream in that way? Hmm. Golden City of the Scorching Sun. Only way back would be using the thing we came here on. So they try and use the weird orb capsule thing that takes you down to the sixth layer. Which again, it's like we haven't really talked about it, but I like wonder what the hell this thing is. Like, why is it here, right? It's so weird. It feels like it goes so against like the whole like we've talked about the abyss almost being like a living thing and like this idea of the abyss like steadily getting deeper over time, all of that, right? Which I think makes sense, but it's like oh, this weird architecture, like Edo Front. Why does Edo Front exist? And like, what is this thing? Who made it? Why is there this weird like ceremonial process to getting down to the sixth layer, right? Like, I guess it's like the idea that, of course, the curse becomes more significant. So I guess you could say that whatever society made this thing, viewed as significant, just like they did. I think like Rico, Nanachi, one of them said the same thing in the movie. But it's like, who made it? What was the society here? Is it the same society that now exists at the bottom of the abyss? Is there a society at the bottom of the abyss? Who made the robots? What? I just don't know. Hmm. Thanks to a hollow near the altar that was clutching a stone. I wonder what the story behind this guy is. It just always makes me think of that line from Liza and when in the narration at the beginning, like episode 11, I think. After like the horrible shit happened to Rico, where she said like there's like innumerable tragedies laying at the bottom of the abyss, you know, that it's like all around you, you're surrounded by it, and you don't even know, right? And it's like this is, I guess, in a way, this is just another one, you know, like whatever the backstory behind this could be, it just fills you with it's very sad, right? Just looking at it, right? Just imagining. Because whoever this is, they can use the white whistle even as a hollow. So whoever the white whistle is died for them, and yet they're a hollow. You know, I don't know. It's very sad. Like you can imagine some potential ways it could have gone, but who knows? Who knows? I don't know why he was there. However, necessary for us to test whether he can make the altar go back up, and he can, but the curse kills you. So, unfortunately, not really an option. Humans can't return from this area while maintaining their human form. Lines like this just make me think about the idea of like what it means to be human, right? Like you could say in a sense that like what Wazukyon has done here, right? Eating Iramui slash Iramui's children, whichever one. You could say that is in a sense like not maintaining his humanity, right? Like he has abandoned his humanity in some way by being willing to do that level of cruelty to survive down here, you know? It's like the idea that surviving in this harsh environment, this area where they're trying to escape from the harshness that they've already seen on the surface, it's like they still have to abandon their humanity down here in order to survive, right? It's a very harsh picture in a way. It's very like negative, you know, it's very pessimistic. Which it makes me wonder if there's going to be some kind of counter to that idea later on in the season, right? This idea that establishing a society like the Golden City without relying on this kind of sacrifice, without abandoning your humanity in some way is like impossible, you know? There has to be something more than that, right? Unable to move on or go back, but the legendary Golden City does indeed exist, and it stretches out before us untouched. He is so... Like what I said during the reaction is this sounds like, in a way, almost like a cult leader's speech, right? And I just mean that in the sense of, like, he is really, like, the reality of what they're actually doing here is they have to survive in this horrible, harsh environment, right? And he's telling them, oh, this is it. This is the Golden City, you know, we made it, right? But I think he actually believes what he's saying. I don't think he's, like, tricking them or something, right? Like, I don't think it's, like, in the same sense of, like, a cult leader in that way, where it's like he's manipulating them in any way, because I think he believes what he's saying, too, right? He is also here for that same reason, I imagine, right? This idea of establishing the Golden City, right? And yeah, this is it. They have to be strong, find ourselves within a legend. The only ones who can uncover the truth, yeah. If we can't go anywhere else, let's make a new beginning here. It is we who shall be the first citizens of the Golden City at the bottom of the world. Yeah, at the bottom of the world. And it's like the fact that it's at the bottom of the world, too. Like, that seems like a... Like, think about what, like, Nanachi said, in, like, the last episode of Season 1 during, like, the flashback. When they said, like, I'm already at the bottom of the world, so I want to go to the abyss, right? This idea that, you know, like, viewing being at the bottom of the world as, like, an analogy for, like, your situation in life, right? And that makes sense. All of these people are people who have been in some way, like, abandoned by their homelands or pushed out, something like that, you know? So they're already at the bottom of the world, so maybe it makes sense they're establishing the Golden City here, you know? It was only in this miraculous place that we could achieve our dearest wish. We didn't have to be prophets touched by the divine to know that to be true. Interesting. Yeah, this miraculous place. The Cradle of Desire. So, we gotta get water, and the water is evil, unfortunately. I did not think with the water was gonna be evil. I was thinking about it, right? But I thought, you know, it seemed like it was just fine. Because I was thinking about how, like, Rico, when they made that food, right, in one of the first episodes of the season, and they had to, like, boil the eggs or whatever, and they still lived despite that, you know, inside the eggs, because, like, they live by hydrothermal vents, that kind of thing, you know? It made me think, like, okay, is boiling water down here even safe? Because stuff inside of it could just live anyway, because it's, like, adapted to that heat, you know? And I guess that's just kind of true. Or the water is just like a living thing itself. It's kind of unclear, you know. So Irimuri can read this writing, which is very interesting. Is this different than the netherglyphs that like Nanachi can read? The Nanachi fucking figured those out by themselves somehow. I wonder. I mean, this is obviously a long time ago. Hmm. Contains glyph strings that are unknown to us. The settlement's literacy rate must greatly surpass ours. I guess, or she's just smart. Maybe she can just read. Who knows? In order to comprehend the Golden City, it seems your knowledge will prove indispensable. It's like interesting, right? Like we get this scene with Baloth asserting how important Irimuri here is, right? That she is so important to this society, and how they're really gonna need her, right? And that comes true in this very dark, horrible way where she gets eaten by everyone, right? Where it's like she has to end up essentially sacrificing herself for that purpose. She ends up being very important, right? Um, and again, that's just a very dark way to view this idea of like, I don't know, like society and helping each other, right? Because Vueko's like that too, right? Vueko, she's all about like helping other people, and like what happened with her? She gets thrown into the bottom of the pit in the city, right? Trapped down there with like the little balancing guys forever, right? Um, Again, it seems so pessimistic and so negative. This idea that like yeah, she sure did. She sure did end up being indispensable, and it was at the cost of her own like well being for the sake of everyone else. You know what I mean? And it's kind of like that with Voiko too, right? Hmm. Where do you think the residents of this place went? I wonder. Like, I think it was thousand. Like my theory about the abyss, of course, is like the 2,000 year cycle thing that like Bondrewd has been talking about. The 2,000 years, right? It makes me think. Every 2,000 years, the abyss like swallows up what's on the surface. That's why there's like no sun. Like here's what I imagine, right? Like all those people on the surface now, like the village that Uenubi comes from, they are going to be the ones who end up being the praying skeletons on the first layer that we know of now in this story, right? Like that's my theory, right? Every 2,000 years, it like swallows everyone up, right? And makes a new layer to the abyss, right? So I imagine the residents of this place are from untold thousands of years ago, right? Again, we don't know how many layers the abyss has right now. What's interesting about that, and maybe I'm actually wrong thinking that the current residents on the surface now become the first layer, because it looked like the first layer that they saw looked like the third layer, didn't it? And it's like, and I remember when we got like the shots of them going down through the abyss, it didn't seem like they had to go down like the third layer as we know it now, right? That would have been like a serious undertaking for them to have managed to make it down, right? It's like we just saw them on the fourth layer suddenly, right? So it really makes you think. So maybe this was 4,000 years ago then, or I guess almost 6,000, right? It would be 5,900, right? Because right now we're 1,900 years after the abyss was discovered and Orth was established. So maybe the people on the surface now, Irimuri's village, that part of the surface gets swallowed up and becomes the second layer. Then there was another village established in those 2,000 years or something. That gets swallowed up and becomes the first layer as we know now. Yeah, that's my theory about all that. So the residents of this place, I guess, all got swallowed up, between 4,000 and 5,900 years ago, something like that, right? Because this is for them, this would be, no, this would be the third layer would be the first layer for them. The fourth would be the second. Fifth would be the third. So this would be 4 layers down. So it would be like 6,000 to 8,000 years ago, right? So I mean, they're all long gone, right? They're all long gone. Hmm. Looks like people with patterns on their bodies. My village's legends say that. When of age in my village, we put pattern ink on the body, imitate Golden City people, and that's so That's so weird to me, right? The idea that there's people down in the Golden City, but the robots. Maybe I'm just really overthinking that line. Maybe I'm really overthinking that line from the interference units, saying that these people like look new to them and they want to learn about them, right? But it's like if they had seen people before, they'd just be like, oh, it's more people. But maybe not. Maybe I'm really overthinking that. I don't know. Yomiuri's body can't bear child and ink of sacrifice put on. So obviously, yes, there's this bond that Breako and Yomiuri have through their horrible shared abuse. So yeah, makes sense, right? And again, it's like it's so sad because for both of them, they end up in some way sacrificing everything. I mean, like, kinda. In Voiko's case, it's not even clear, I guess, how she ended up at the bottom of the village in the place with all the balancing stuff, you know? It's unclear, like, what ends up happening with her exactly, right? But they both end up sacrificing everything in this way, you know? Hmm. And she gets one of these. I forget what they were called. I forget what Nanachi called them. She knew the name, I think. Or was it Rika who knew the name? But whatever it is, it's cute. It's very nice. And it also, the children that Irumyui wishes to give birth to also look like it because it dies. So that's great. That's really awesome, isn't it? Yeah, and she thinks of that. Hmm. Because like for her, that cat was like must have meant a lot to her, you know. In a place like this, docile creatures have managed to survive, so that's why. If we study its way of life, we may discover something to secure our survival. Exactly, right? Because it has to survive down here, right? So, like, sure. What's interesting is, like, why didn't they... I wonder if they tried to, like, follow it to see where it gets water or anything, you know? Um, I don't know. Maybe. But I guess, you know, we don't know if those things are affected by the curse. Yeah, maybe it just went up somewhere to go get water and we just couldn't follow it, you know? I thought it's like we could ask. Can we not just ask the interference units to bring us water? Like I don't know. There's really nowhere that they can get water anywhere and bring it to us. It's like I guess. Oh, or are these just all of the only water places they know about? Just these ones that Bailoff here explains. Like I guess, right? Two larger bodies of water far within the territory of terrifying creatures. I feel like we should have tried that, but oh well. After we discovered what was wrong with this water, right? Of the remaining three, one has a fallen iron tower in it, so rust is dissolved into the water. Can't use that. Another is so hot the interference units can't approach it. The last one is, yeah, the one that they try using. So this is apparently actually the corpse of a creature, which maybe that makes sense. Like, it does look like it's, like, melting, right? Not that they should have, like, expected that at all, right? Man, and I feel like there's something here about the idea that despite them boiling the water, it still like isn't enough, right? Like the normal things they would expect to have to do to survive, is it still isn't enough to survive down here, right? It's like this idea that they're missing something, right? That it's impossible to survive down here and establish the Golden City without what? Because the thing that they're missing, I refuse to accept that this idea of like sacrifice from others, right? But maybe that's just how society works. Maybe that just is it. That there will always be people like Irumyui, like Voiko, like all the members of Ganja, who end up sacrificing themselves just for the greater good in some way, right? Like through Voiko wanting to help people all the time. Irumyui with the horrible things that happen in this episode. Is that just the message I'm supposed to learn here, right? That it's impossible to survive without that? Because maybe that's true, right? Maybe that's true. Maybe that's very true. That because I mean, obviously in our society it's like that, right? That there are people who do horrible jobs and are treated terribly that are like very foundational for the functioning of society, right? So it's like they set out trying to establish a society that wasn't like that, and it was just impossible, right? Just that's a pretty grim message if that's really what we're getting at here. You know what I mean? But I guess it's. I suppose I can agree with it. I suppose it can be true. You know, with a source of water in hand, we finally had a foothold here, where we had to make some sacrifices along the way. Exactly, right? Little by little, we gradually acquired the skills to stay alive in the people-devouring Golden City. They kill a weird, shark-looking thing. So Irumyui, Rico smells like mommy. The smell of mating with lots of people. So I just wonder if in Irumyui's mind this is like some weird connection she's made. This idea that like, because she has like this extreme like she thinks children is like the only thing that matters, right? That's how she's been raised, right? She's a child. She's been told all her life all that matters is having children because she's a woman, I assume, right? Well, she's a girl, right? She's not a woman yet. And you know, that's I in the village. I think that's just kind of her purpose, right? When she didn't have that, when she is unable to have children, they cast her out for that, right? So that's like all she thinks is all that matters, right? That's what she wishes for as well. So I just wonder her saying that Voiko like smells like this. Like I don't know what that would what she thinks she would be smelling here, right? But I'm saying like I just wonder if she makes that connection with like with her mother she in some way like feels that same thing with Waco, and she equates it in this way, right? That's the smell of mating with lots of people, because that's what she thinks about. Like that's what's important, right? Yeah, mommy was very important, so she has lots of children. But Iramiri only girl child. Yeah, like she is the one who is supposed to continue the bloodline, of course, right? Like in their kind of society, only having a bunch of boys all the time, that would, I mean, that could kill the society, right? Like that's what leads to this horrible like abuse like this, is that unfortunately, yeah, they would need the women to give birth all the time to keep society running. I mean, that's kind of what led to like the terrible treatment of women throughout history, like forever, right? That's why Big Brother's super nice to Iramiri, and then it's like she failed to meet their expectations, right? In her mind. Iramiri is cursed. Cursed one born of the giant pit, so must go back to giant pit. And yeah, Voiko gets it in a way. Can't take the place of your mom, but Hiramiri wants Voiko. Of course she does, right? Because Voiko doesn't have that same like expectation of her. She's not pushing that same thing onto her. I had wanted to find the light. But deep in the dark, the only thing I finally found and touched was darkness after all. Yeah, it's not. She didn't find some kind of like. Like, it's not like through this connection with Iramiri, it's this light that she has found that makes her feel better, right? No, it's this shared darkness that she has with her. I think that's a very good way to put, like, this kind of shared horrible trauma they have. Yeah, very warm darkness. That is quite the thing. I don't know, Iramiri is just, like, sitting on top of it. I guess it's probably pretty fun. Fun little ride. Yummy. And her pet gets eaten, which is like horrible. Waco makes a little necklace for her. Very nice, very nice. And then the horrible sickness begins. The water is filling them with parasites or something, right? Like that's a pretty effective way for like a parasite to work, right? Pretend to be water to get things to drink you. Like, yeah. Yeah, yeah. And she immediately said, I'll need water to care for them, because of course, right? Ah, God. Man. And like when Voiko is affected by it, like she craves water so badly. Like, man. Terrifying, right? I can't help but feel like the fact that the thing that is the downfall here takes the place of water, which is like this very basic requirement for like a society to exist, for people to be alive, right? It's like number one, you need water. And it's like they're unable to pass that very first hurdle, water, right? And then ice. Not only that, but this happens to the food survey team because of. So I guess the Cradle of Desire did this to them. The interference unit guy says it's like the something about their wish, like because they're adults or whatever. It does this to their body. I guess you have to be a kid. Sure, sure. They said like adults are like too complex essentially, which I think makes sense. I think it's like the same reason children have so much value in Iribiru, right? Um, it's like this idea of like potential and like having like more of a single-minded focus, perhaps, and that being something that would be very valued with the system of value, right? And would make sense with like the Cradles of Desire. So yeah, this was all a melted creature, right? Maybe tons of creatures, who knows, right? And Wazikyan, this is the moment where I'm like, oh, he just happens to find the Cradle of Desire, huh? Wonder what it is, right? This is another thing where it's like I feel like he must know, right? He must know. Yeah, did the prophet touched by the divine have some kind of premonition? I wonder how much he knows, huh? Or did the supernatural power of the Great Pit sense our greed and send it to us? It's so interesting that she frames it as being greedy, when all they want is to live, right? Like, if the idea of forming a society and surviving requires the sacrifice of others, and that's essentially what's being said here, then is it greedy to want to survive at all? I don't think so, right? But, God, it's just, I don't know. I don't know. We need some answers, huh? And it has the little compass thing inside of it. Hmm. So yeah, the water itself is a living organism. Very interesting. Wazikan doesn't care there. He'll keep drinking it. He has to, right? He has to. In a sense, him being willing to keep drinking it in this way, that kind of shows like his attitude. I feel like that fits with him, like being willing to sacrifice even Yui too, right? Like, yeah, we gotta survive. Gotta do what we gotta do, right? He kind of reminds me of Bondrewd in like a way. I don't think he's as blatantly evil to me as Bondrewd was, right? Because Bondrewd was just this complete like ignoring everything that like is humanity, right? Just like calling him evil almost sounds wrong because like he himself didn't think of himself as evil, right? But that doesn't really matter, right? What's evil or not is kind of decided on like the outcome that it causes on other people, right? By that standard, Bondrewd is certainly evil, right? Bondrewd is like this complete rejection of any kind of humanity or emotion or feeling or love at all, right? I don't think Wazukan's like that. He does want to survive. I think he does want like what's best for people in a way, right? Like he's the leader of the village. All these people are surviving in it, you know? Hmm. The Cradle of Desire. So these round relics are apparently the shapes of wishes. Which is interesting. We've seen a whole bunch like that, right? Like up on the first layer and stuff, you know? From modest ones to strong ones. That one is very strong. It's the Cradle of Desire, a wish-granting egg. If you get overcome and your wish dissipates, you become like that. Grown humans are motley and complex. They are not suited for it. So if you get overcome by it, so in terms of like you having like too many things to wish for, perhaps, and that's why like an adult would have a harder time with it, compared to like a child that has more of like a single-minded purpose, perhaps. That would make sense to me. If you wish to make use of it, juvenile is preferable. Yeah, yeah. And it makes you wonder, like, how much did Wazikian foresee? Did he agree to be bringing Yuri along because he foresaw this far ahead? Like, that would be crazy, right? and Irimiri, yeah, she is suffering. Turn back to normal. I wish. Because Irimiri means so much to her, right? Because it's this deep connection they have. They're like the same in so many ways, right? It's like this. Yeah, man. And she, okay, like, so she asks this, right? Wazika looks to the interference units for like advice, and they say this crazy shit that doesn't make any sense. The fear felt by a juvenile is much closer to the origin. The probability is very high. What the hell does that mean? What are you talking about, man? The fear felt by a juvenile is much closer to the origin. What? What does that mean? Um, I don't know. I don't know what those lines mean at all. Like the idea of the origin makes me think of the core, right? Like the shape of the core, the light of the core. I have no idea if that's supposed to be what they're saying at all. I have literally no idea. The origin of what? It's what I don't know. The probability is very high. The probability of what? It working, I guess. Like sure. We have too many worldly thoughts. Let's bet on that kid's wish. Don't have much time left. He would know, right? She will be our salvation. Absolutely. Of course. Maybe that could be the thumbnail. That looks pretty good. I don't really want to make the thumbnail any of the horrible Irimui shit. That would make me sad. We're a band of the disgraced and expelled. We've had a place to belong taken from us and our descendants. Yumiri's the same, our youngest sister. If we refuse to extend this helping hand to her, we'll once again lose our place to belong. That's such an interesting way to put it, because if he knows what's going to happen, we aren't really extending a helping hand to her, other than I guess you could say we're granting her wish in some way, right? If she did what to help other people, kind of like Waco does, right? If that was part of her wish in some way. But it can't be like this, right? Like, it's the first time I'd seen it close up. The face of a divinely possessed prophet. Yeah, yeah. And Irimiri's all better. not really. Her arm's not better. She doesn't hurt anymore. Yeah. But what did she wish for? Exactly. Man. I like to believe that Umui's wish is somehow related to that bond, and maybe it is? Does it have something to do with Boiko as well? I guess, right, just the idea of wanting to cure them, right, have them not get sick, right? And I guess, I mean, yeah, Boiko gets fed it, and it works, right? Maybe that's why Wazikan feeds it to her first, because it's like she is the one that would work on, if anyone, you know? If I were to fall ill as well, Yumi would be left to like that all on her own. And Yumi has now this, so that's great. Her body is really taking the form of her desire. Yeah. Ah, man. And it's like and it's like God. Reiko keeps reassuring Yumi like she wants to, of course, right? Yumi keeps saying things like this, right? As long as Reiko here, it's fine, right? So in that sense, it's like Reiko gets this feeling that in some way it's like she's partially at fault for what's happening to Yumi, right? Because it's like Yumi is relying on her so much to do this, and she's like supporting it in a way by being there for her, you know? So like, God. So your body is trying to change the way you wished it to be. Yeah, and of course, I mean, yeah, she cared so much about children. So like, yeah, only thing I could do was pray that I've made the right choice. Exactly. The wish-granting egg. Did this child perhaps wish for her own happiness? For her own fears to vanish? No, she wished for children. A baby. What was I supposed to do? Heights. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what you were supposed to do. The next day, the baby took its last breath. And yeah, I mean, like, how cruel that is. How awful that is, right? That they're just born and die. Like, this isn't her wish, right? Like, it must have taken her wish very literally, right? Just to have children and that's it, right? But it's like what Franco says. It's like, how did this wish happen, right? What did this wish reach? What kind of, yeah. It's like, why was it granted, you know? Why would it be granted like this, right? Like, she never got used to the sorrow of having the physical manifestations of her wish continually taken from her. Awesome. Great. And Boiko is affected. But she gets fed. I'm a horrible person. Right as your wishes are getting corroded again and again by some mysterious entity, I'm leaving you behind. But she gets fed. She gets fed by Wazukion. And it cures her. And she emphasizes how good it tastes, right? Which is very interesting, right? It's like the taste of this horrible sacrifice, you know? God, it's just, I don't know. It's so, I just don't even want to think about it, you know? Like, it's really rough. It's rough. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I guess that's about it, right? I mean, we've talked about all this. We've talked about Wazukion. So yeah, she saved us all, I suppose. I don't know. I don't know. I really just have to see where this is going, right? I want to talk more thematically about this. I think it's very interesting. This idea of sacrifice feeling like a requirement in some way, right? For like what society to exist, and maybe it is. But I need to see what the answer is that the show is going to give me for that thing, right? There's also something to be said for like Iram Yui and like her wish being granted and it being so awful for her, right? Like this idea that perhaps what you believe is your wish, what you believe is your desire, not being something that's like actually good for you, right? And in Yui's case, I think that's certainly true, right? Her wish, her desire came from this place of like exploitation, right? She wanted to be able to fulfill like this exploitation essentially to just be someone who gives birth to a bunch of children so the village can continue, right? She wanted to fulfill that, right? So of course, when she fulfills it in this horrible way with the Cradle of Desire, it's not good, because if she had actually achieved that in the first place, it wouldn't have been good either, right? But she doesn't know that, right? So like there's something there too, right? This idea that you can't trust your desires or wishes in that sense, right? That just because it's something you so strongly desire, that doesn't mean it would actually be like good to fulfill it, right? But again, it's like I just gotta see more. I just gotta see where we're going, right? I gotta see where we're going. So yeah, I guess that's it. So please, if you enjoy my videos, subscribe, leave a comment, tell me what you think, and I will see you in the next one.